Alright, what's up guys? I just got done watching A24's newest horror film, Bring Her Back, written and directed by the Philippou brothers, Danny and Michael, and this movie was fucked. This is easily one of the most messed up, cruel, sad, depressing, horrifying movies I've seen in a very long time. But man, did I enjoy this movie. The Philippou brothers recently did Talk to Me that came out a couple years ago, and these films, they're kind of similar in some sort of way. You know, both have to do with, themes of grief and loss, losing someone in your family specifically. But this one kind of just goes a little bit more overboard, a little bit more into it about what a mother, who's, played by Sally Hawkins in this film, what she's willing to do, what she's willing to do to people, to herself, the rabbit holes that she's willing to go down, basically just losing yourself to this, the pain that you feel, that you just want anything. You kind of are willing to do anything you can to bring back this family member. In this case, it's her daughter. So basically, we just have a brother and a sister who start to uncover this terrifying ritual, all this fucked up shit going on at the house of their new foster mother. Andy and Piper are our two main characters. They are the brother and sister in this film, and I actually really like them. Much like Talk to Me, this is an Australian film. It takes place in Australia. So there's a few things that are, just a little bit different, but they're awesome. Piper is blind. She says earlier in the film that she can see shapes and light. And I kind of thought that would come into play a little bit later in the film, but it doesn't. But Piper is awesome. She's a really likable kid. She, just kind of wants to fit in with the other kids, as we see in one scene in the beginning. But she's super likable. And her brother, Andy, also super likable. He's 17, he's a little bit older. And the mother is played by Sally Hawkins, of course, and she is incredible in this film. I mean, she kind of starts off as basically her character in Paddington, nice, loving, kind of just that mother who, the warmth that she gives you. She just wants you to come into her family. She wants to have a family and just all that kind of stuff that comes with being, a mother. She's basically like that in the beginning, but we start to slowly see, what she's actually doing in this house, what she's been doing, what she wants to do with Andy and Piper. And it just keeps getting more and more messed up and sadistic and just absolutely crazy. And also with Andy, he's also going through trauma in his past. Stuff that's happened to him that he hasn't fully processed, talked about, dealt with. And that adds to the horror as well, because Sally Hawkins' character is basically tormenting him the same way that his dad was. The trauma that he has, she's doing the same exact thing to him, and it's slowly just driving him crazy. So there's just a lot of trauma between these characters that they're going through that brings them together. And when you do it the right way in a horror film without it having to feel like, a lot of horror films just kind of force it. If you do it the right way, it just adds to the horror instead of just feeling kind of like it's there for no reason. But this adds to it in every single aspect. And once a specific scene involving a kitchen knife and some teeth happens, from there on out is just when all this shit starts going absolutely bonkers. All the fucked up shit starts actually ramping up, and it just never lets up. In the beginning, doesn't really start off slow. Much like every horror movie, they're building, the tension. They're building the suspense. You're getting to know the characters, and you actually get to know Andy and Piper pretty well. I think they were great characters. But Sally Hawkins' desperation in this film is just off the charts. Once we do start figuring out what she's, actually kind of doing, there's these VHS tapes, what we later figure out are basically instructional videos on how to bring your dead daughter back, or bring whoever you want that's dead, how to bring them back to life. Very sadistic and fucked up videotapes. And along with bringing in Andy and Piper into her home, there's another kid there named Oliver, who I think pretty much steals the whole show of this film. I mean, this kid actor was incredible, but she has this other kid, Oliver, who is just very strange from the get-go. There's something wrong with him. She says he's mute, doesn't talk, and you later learn, what she's actually doing with him. He starts doing some fucked up shit. You slowly start to figure out Oliver's purpose in this whole thing and what Sally Hawkins is doing with him. With, the videotapes, the, kind of exposition that we do get in this film without just dumping it all on us at once. We're watching these videotapes with her, learning with her. But there are still some things that I still had questions about at the end. I do think they, pretty much explain most of it, but there's a few things here and there where I'm like, okay, well, how would have that happened? Well, okay, so we had to do this. Just like in my head, like I just wasn't quite sure. But you can tell, along with, Talk to Me, the Philippou brothers' previous movie, that this story, all the themes in this, everything, every act, it's very well thought out. I mean, once again, it's not really an original story, it's pretty familiar, but they do a nice twist on it, as in just the decisions that they make with the script, specifically not going full supernatural with the story. There's plenty of it, there's enough of it there. There's hints. One scene, involving Oliver in a bathtub that scared the fuck out of me, but they don't go fully there like they did in Talk to Me, or, like the ending of Hereditary, like a lot of other movies do. You kind of think they're going to go there at this specific scene at the end in a pool, but then they go back to what this movie, the themes of this movie actually are, the grief. And there's plenty of blood in this film, plenty of gore, plenty of scenes where you just want to look away from the screen. You're just like, ooh, no. Like, you're just absolutely wanting to look away. And a lot of this is also involving a child, which just even makes it more messed up. But Oliver, man, this kid was amazing in the film. He also has some great makeup towards the end of this film when he, we fully start learning what he is. They show in the trailer, he's obviously possessed, doing something. And the makeup is awesome. He looks absolutely terrifying. What he does to his body, it's incredible in the worst way, but best way possible, because once again, man, I'm going to say this a bunch. This movie is fucked up. And of course, it's A24. The Philippou brothers know what they're doing. This movie looks great. The cinematography is awesome. The lighting, the whole mood and the tone is just, even when the beginning wasn't, that intense or that crazy, it just slowly builds it up. You just know something is there. Something crazy is going to happen. By the middle, the end of it, you just know this story is going to get super messed up. And they do a lot of cool stuff with the camera, much like a lot of other A24 movies do, kind of moving the camera to kind of go upside down and just all these close-up shots. Lots of fancy stuff. It doesn't come off as too pretentious, though, which is always a positive. Movie looks great, and everything they do just really works. So overall, Bring Her Back is an unnerving, fucked up, sad film, but it's amazing. The script is awesome. I was hooked the whole time. There are some scenes that are very, very hard to watch, so if you're kind of squirmy like that or squeamish, you will look away from the screen. Sally Hawkins is incredible in this film. Her character is so unlikable, but at the same time, you understand sort of why she does the things that she does, even if they're so fucked up. And yeah, shouts out Oliver, man. He was the actor, Jonah Wren Phillips. This kid was amazing. Shouts out him. He was awesome. Pretty much carried the movie along with Sally Hawkins, but my goodness, once you see this film, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. But I think if you like Talk to Me, if you like horror movies, kind of that body horror stuff as well, something similar to kind of like Hereditary, just, the whole demon aspect of that, possession, I think you're going to really like this movie, but just be ready. But anyways, I appreciate you guys watching. I'm going to give this film a solid 8 out of 10. My name is Zach. Like, subscribe, comment. Later.